Risk is measured, one of the ways risk is measured is by volatility, right? Like how often does it go up and down, up and down? Bonds stay pretty relatively stable to the market. And so yes, that's a pretty low risk, low return type safer investment. Now you have different grades of bonds, right? Remember I said you have treasury bills, which are government bonds. Then you have corporate bonds, which are a little more, depending on who you are. Like it was a point where Apple's credit rating was higher than the government's, I think. So like Apple bonds were like less risky than the government, which was mind-boggling. but I think they fixed that now. But yeah, it was crazy. Like, so typically the government bonds are considered risk-free because they're only about 2%. Right? Then you start getting into corporate bonds, which yield closer to 4, 5, maybe 6%, depending on the company. Then there's something, you ever heard of junk bonds? Mm-hmm. Junk bonds. Those are like bonds that are a little more, so those can yield up to 10, 20%, but they may not have stable cash flows to sustain all this debt. So you go, oh, I'm getting 20%, and then they get hit a recession, and then they bankrupt, and now you are wiped clear. So it sounds good, but again, it's that risk versus reward. And then when we talk about stocks, there's large cap, mid cap, small cap, right? So your small caps would be the cannabis, and that just kind of came up, maybe I think under $100 million or something, or in assets or market cap. Then you have mid cap, which is like maybe like a Zynga would be a mid cap, like kind of like your
like a Pinterest or Zoom.
Is Pinterest publicly traded?
Yep, yeah. Just started.
Oh, interesting. IPOs.
A little bit, just today.
That's probably, depending on their market cap, probably mid cap. And then you think about your large caps like your GMs, your Fords, your Apples, your Googles, your Facebooks, Nikes, all the big large companies. Those are typically safer because they're usually not going to go bankrupt. Exactly. And they're most likely not going to go bankrupt. Now their stocks may be volatile. They may have some news.
And they're often the most expensive stocks as well.
Correct. Right. Because you pay a premium for that safety. Right?
So like Google stock is like one shares around anywhere from 1,200 to 1,300, looking at market variability.
Yep. So typically that's kind of your profiles. Your risk profiles for different stocks and bonds. When you're talking to an investment manager or financial manager, you're going to want to understand, if they say, hey, I want to get you 75% stocks, your next question should be, okay, which types of stocks? Right? Because you don't want 75% all in like small cap stocks, because small caps have a higher chance of going bankrupt, all things being equal. And then also you don't want everything in junk bonds, because like I said, you can make a decent return, but they may not be liquid and they may not be able to come with the cash flow to pay their bills, and then if they don't pay their bills, it's going to bankruptcy and you get wiped out. No more bonds for you, and then your principal's gone, right? So it just sort of depends on your risk tolerance with that.